Good morning, party people. I am still in the Atlanta, Georgia area. Rumor has it this whole state is red, so I guess things will fall the way they were meant to, but it's close, Happy Election Day. Hope you had the opportunity and took the opportunity to vote, which is something you should participate in if you have an opinion. If you don't have an opinion, you don't have to vote. But when people start gagging over how things are run, man, if you didn't vote, just leave your 2 cents out of it. That's just my take on it, So anyway, threw my 2 cents in long ago. I was long done with that. So the rest of you folks that wanted to wait until the overtime hour, now's your time. Besides all that, I'm still in the ATL. I think I only have one more person to help. I got another guy that's been contacting me. Hey, Robert, meet me here, meet me here, meet me there, meet me over there. Man, we've struck out as far as I'm concerned. I can't run all over town trying to meet people. So if you want me to diagnose something for you, read some codes or something, you make an appointment. You need to keep it. I really don't have time running 3 or 4 different places trying to wait on you to meet and connect. It's not fair to me. So take the time out, make your appointment, get it done, and move on. Thank you very much. Other than that, this video today, man, I was working on that S80 vacuum leak detection pump. This pump is designed to pressurize your emission system and let the vehicle and you know if there's a leak somewhere in the system. You got a cracked hose, broken hose. For some reason, these valves get gummed up. They quit working. So they throw a code. They also make a situation where it can't pass emissions. Can't get it ready on that system. So you may find yourself or your mechanic replacing this thing. Now, I've never done that job before. I got some tips from a mechanic. I went at it and tried my best to do as little as possible to get that thing done. This video shows you how that process goes. Try this, that don't work. Try this, this. So this is not a directional video for you to follow. I will try to remix that video so that it's useful. And then if you have this problem with one of these S80s or a similar car, you can use that video to get this job done. I hope I never have to do another one, but if I do, I will remix the video so that it's a good video and you can get this job done. Now, what you have to do is support the car, support the rear suspension, lower the rear suspension about 5-6 inches, right to where the springs start to come out of the frame. Once you get that there, you want to lower the exhaust at the rear, remove the heat shield. Then you can unplug this leak detection pump and put the new one in. Try to get the heat shield in. Begin to raise the suspension by the center framing of it, not by the shocks, seats, nothing like that, because it just doesn't go up the way it comes down. And then reattach the rear suspension and put on a couple of splash guards and you're all done. The way I did it, it probably took 4 or 5 hours. This job could probably be done in 2 hours if you do it right. So learning and discovering and trying different things, was time consuming. Now, another thing I did notice on this job is the new part comes with plastic lines. The old part, the original part, has rubber hoses. So you'll purchase the new part, about $240 or so. You'll remove the part with the hoses. Now, if you have hoses that are not cracked, you could probably reuse your hoses. However, if you damage those, pulling them off, or they're cracked, you'll need to get the new part with hoses, and that's what makes this job more difficult. If your hoses are good, you can get a new pump without the hoses and put it in that way, probably a whole different ball game. So if you gotta change the hoses and they're the new hard style hoses, you'll have to lower that suspension to get that thing out. And that's what I had, that's what I did. So hope you learned something from today's video. Like I said, I'm in Atlanta. I think I only got 2 more people to help. I may get those people done today. I'll be out of here tomorrow. Wednesday, may go to Charlotte for a day or 2, and then over to help a guy in East Tennessee with manual parts and stuff, clutches and stuff like that. So we'll see how this goes. Thanks for watching. Welcome to Hanging Out with Robert. That's me. This video contains things that I tinker with throughout the day. For step-by-step detailed instructions of those tasks, you can click on the links in the comment section below. I plan on leaving this video accessible for about 30 days. After that, you can view it through my Patreon account. This video also has tips and tricks that I've learned over the years. So, thank you very much for watching. Hearing a rattle or mild knocking in the rear end when we go over bumps, slow or fast, think this end link is bad. Boots torn open. Those things do clicking when they go bad. So on this one, you have 15 millimeter nut that goes through this way. You hold that with a T30 and undo it, or you can hold it 15 on there and turn it with a T30. Up here you got a millimeter deep, and you could hold this with a 13. Take those 2 bolts off, pull it out. You can replace this bushing too. If not, just put this bushing on your new one is what I'm going to do. Tighten it down, put it in there. Here's the part number. And let me open up the package and get it out of here and screw it on. Top nut's a 13. This holding deal is a 13. So I'm holding it and I'm tightening it down until I see this stuff kind of look like it was. I don't know if it'll bottom out or not. It may bottom out, but I'm going to tighten it a little bit more. When you're going to replace one of these sway bar end links, you may want to count the threads that you have up here, because man, you could tighten those things down till the cows come home. So you want to get the same amount of threads that was in the top of this thing when you tighten it down, so you don't over tighten your bushing. And then take this nut off. It's a 13. You can hold a 13 on that so it's not turning. And then this is a 15 with a T30 insert in it. That's all there is to that. In this video, I'm going to be replacing this leak detection air pump. That's the part number there. It's a 2008 S80. It's giving us a code and will not let us go into monitor readiness. When you come under the car, as you can see, I have the car jacked up. I have both wheels off. Don't know if that's necessary or not. It may be, because I may have to lower the suspension some. That pump is right there. However, it's got 2 hoses to it that goes God knows where. I'm going to pull up the carpet in the trunk to see if there's any access panels for me to find the ends of this pump line. I'm going to open up the package to see how they are molded in out of the package, and we're going to get this job done and let you guys know how to do it. Here's the part here. Some mechanics are talented enough to heat up the hoses. The old ones have hoses you can heat up and slide off. However, this one, the hoses are cracked. If they're cracked, they're leaking, can't pressurize, can't pass emissions. So if I go down here and hold this thing like it is here, that's telling me I got a hose up here somewhere and a hose over here somewhere that this thing is connected to. And you see the 3 screw holes there. So somewhere up in here I got a connection over on top of this axle VC, and then up over here I got a hose that pushes in somewhere over here. So let's see if we can see this stuff, and let's see if we can replace this minimum work without doing too much damage. I can see the two connectors. One of them has a little yellow on it up there. Really can't see it through here. The other one plugs in over there, right in front of that. The first thing I'm gonna do is take this heat shield off. It's got some plastic tins. Look like I'm gonna have to take this exhaust hanger down to get this to fall down. Probably the exhaust hanger on the other side. I'm gonna work on getting this heat shield out. Tell you how I got it out. Start with these four. Exhaust hanger there, and then see what's next. These little plastic nuts, you break them loose, turn them out by hand. 13 millimeter there, 2 extensions on it, or deep in the extension, 13 over there. Now I'm gonna try to find some more attachments for this little heat shield so I can get this thing out. It looks like there's something way up over there. Let me go look. Stuck my hand and tool up past the tailpipe here. Got that 10 millimeter over there. Came on the other side. Stuck my tool up over there. Got that 10 millimeter over there. Now I'm gonna see if there's anything else holding this heat shield in place, because it feels like it kind of want to come out. Up over the passenger side axle, there's another 10 millimeter there. So after I get that, this heat shield should maneuver out of here. So pull the heat shield down from around those studs, and then I kind of folded it together in the back, massaged it down and out, but try not to damage where it went through the hole. So that's out of the way. Let's see how things look for it. Looking at this from back at the axle over the exhaust, it looks like this is one end of the hose here, and the other end is plugged into the charcoal canister. Now my guess is the proper way to get at this thing is take that bolt loose there, maybe take the shock loose, and this side of the suspension will sag down enough to get that stuff off. However, if you warm this up, you may be able to pull that off there. It's a hard reach with this stuff in the way. May be able to pull that off there. Somehow get your arm up there, unclip that there, pull that out, unscrew this here, unplug the wire harness, and maneuver that out of there. So what I'm going to do right now is unclip that wire harness, take those 3 T25s out, try to unclip that, try to push that off of there, and see if I can maneuver this out and maneuver the replacement one in. So let's give that a shot. Next, I'm going to take those 3 T25s. I'm going to remove those. Now that I have the 3 screws out, I'm going to move the valve over, kind of twist it down a little bit, release the tab on top of the plug, and try to pull this plug out. May need to do that with 2 hands. Oh, feels like it's coming out. Alright, got the plug out. Next, I'm going to come up here and try to get that plug released there and pull that out. Let me look at the new one, see how that works. Push in on the top of it and it opens up the tabs inside to release it. So I'm going to push down on the yellow tab and then try to unplug the hose. See which way I can get my hand up there. Then I'm going to push this hose off with a screwdriver or something. That came loose relatively easy. Took my left hand, put it up behind this axle here,
in this gearbox, grab the back side of the hose, reach my right hand up through this access, push that yellow tab in, that thing slid right off. So I'm going to hold this with one hand, try to push that hose off with the other on this. It does seem like that's the one that's wiggling the valve here. So let me push that off. Then I want to look at the routing of this stuff so I can put it in. Took my trim clip puller, pulled it on the inside of this pipe, put it against the hose, held this hose with the other hand, and pushed that thing right off. So I believe the valve is loose. Let's see if we can snake it down in front of this axle support here, or some way get it out of here. Figure out how it goes in there and how to get the replacement in there. But that is the valve and the hoses. Let me push this hose off the rest of the way. Alright, see if I can get this thing out of here. So far I have the valve twisted off of the bracket coming down this way. I'm going to try to pull it out here without lowering this suspension. However, these hoses are tied together, so I think I'm going to snip that. That might help me maneuver these two hoses out of here. I was able to get it out. There's some kind of wire junction joint thing there. You got to feel that out. I'm going to try to maneuver the other one back up in there. I did have to guide the other one out through reaching through this side over here and the side charcoal canister and getting that out of there. So I didn't have to take none of the suspension down. Let me try to get the new one back in. The old one has rubber hoses. The new one has these plastic molded tubes that may be a little harder to maneuver back up in there because that stuff is hard. It's not bendable like the rubber is. So I may have to drop the suspension. Rats. Besides that, it's pretty much the same deal. Let me see if I could snake it up in there. If not, I'm gonna have to lower the suspension. Because the other lines on the new valve are hard, I can't maneuver them up in there how I got these out. So I'm gonna lower this suspension, removing as little things as possible. First thing I did was move the jack stands over to here, just inside the jacking points on both sides. Now the car is resting on jack stands. Next I'm going to move these two 10 millimeters out of this shock over here. Next I'm going to put a jack under the car. I don't want this thing to fall more than about an inch or two. So I'm going to put a jack under the car about an inch, so when this thing starts coming down, it doesn't come down too far for me. Next you want to get this splash guard out of the way. I think those are 17 or 18 nuts. 2 there, 1 there, 1 here, 1 over here. So pull all those, get that out of your way. That way you can access this nut here, probably with an impact. Now I'm going to remove that 15 millimeter, probably hit it with an impact. Looks like things came down about a ½ inch. The strut's coming away from there. Next, I'm gonna come back here, hit that bolt there. Take that down. I got something under the suspension, so the suspension can fall on it. Let it down easy. So let me pull that and see if the suspension comes down enough to start working that valve up in there. And that bolt came out. It did pop down a little bit, so I got about 2 inches there. Let me see if I can maneuver this valve up in there and jack this back up to get those bolts back in. Unfortunately, that 2 inches is not enough. I'm gonna have to go down another couple of inches. So I'm going to take the strut loose from the other side, take that bolt loose from the other side, start lowering that other one, cracking on the other side. I'm going to go get another scissor jack for the other side. Pull these bolts out of this side, lowered it down with the scissors jack on both sides. Till now you can see how much room I have. Now I'm going to go try to snake this up from the front side over to the back. Plug that in there. Plug the other line in there. And keep it moving. I didn't want to let it down too far to let this guide out of the body for the strut spring. So just wanted to tell you about that. Let me slide under this passenger side and try to maneuver this valve up in place. Plug it in. So from here you can see how much room I have. Then one line goes over there. The other line goes up and over here. And then it attaches to that bracket there. I did have to manhandle it a little bit, but I think it's in place. So let me go hook the hoses up on the back side of it and then get the front side of it where I could get the screws in it. So you see that right there? This clip goes back there, clips on the line back there. We'll figure that out. This comes up here. Snaps on there. This comes up here. Let me go back there, make sure that's guided the right way. Plug that in there. So let me get that guided right so I can plug that in. It's not reaching right now. I got it plugged in the back side, but it's floating back here in the back. So I'm going to go ahead and start jacking the rear end back up. Take that stress off of that. That looks good on that other side over there. And start trying to get this thing high enough so I can start getting some bolts back in. So I'm going to jack it up little by little on each side. Got the strut right there. When I get the other side strut right there, I'm going to get this heat shield put back in. I'm jacking up the suspension, the spring supports really, and all that's doing is leveling out the car. It's not getting my attachments any closer. I need a floor jack to jack up this center piece right here that stuff is mounted to. So I'm going to get a jack stand. It looks like I've come off of both my jack stands. I'm going to put the jack stand right under that pipe where it was before. Then I'm going to start lowering the suspension down, which should lift that bracing up, the rear end's bracing up, so that this thing can attach. Because I'm not really getting closer to my attaching points. What I'm trying to say is I'm jacking this up. I should be jacking this up. There's support that goes across there. So get your jack up the center. That'll pull those mounts back up where they need to be so that you can put the bolts in them. Let me get them here so you can see them. That thing right there is a lot closer. This one over there is in place. You can put the bolt in there and up front that side and up front that side. So go ahead and put those bolts in after you jack this center up back here. If your bolt holes are not lined up good, I use my long tool and pry it that way. So now my bolt hole is lined up good. I'm going to go ahead and put a bolt in there. After I get all 4 of those bolts started, I'm going to go ahead and plug the valve in, line it up, and put the 3 T25s in it. I got all the clips and the heat shield. Now I'm going to tighten this up since the valve was installed. Tighten all 4 corners up. I don't know what the torque value is. If I ever find that, I'll let you know. And then I'm going to put those splash guards on there in front of the wheels. And then I'm going to hang the exhaust. If you feel that this information was useful, please like it and share it with your social media friends. You can subscribe to my channel so that you will get notifications of future videos that I post. You can follow me on Twitter, and if you need to contact me directly, please visit my website. And if you have any questions, leave them below, and someone or myself will reply to them. Again, thank you very much for watching.